And I was approached by Tom to join an initiative which I thought was crazy, and turned out to be not so crazy. Turned out to be a really good idea, and amazingly well supported by the community. So my role is currently as member, and I'm happy to share. You can see me on LinkedIn, or you can see me on various other portals to see, what my background and all that sort of stuff is. Cool. That's it. Literally just 15 seconds. Let's just say, because I know that lots of you actually come on as your company name or your handle. If that's how you want to be called, great. Just call it out. We'll move on.
So I'm Tom from Stake Plus, and yeah, I came up with this crazy idea, and hopefully it ends up working out. I actually just quit my last contractual obligation yesterday, so I am now working on this full time. I believe Derek is also now going to be working on this full time, so we're going to be completely committed and dedicated to this project, and look forward to growing it out. And I hope if any of you still work for, quote unquote, the man, that you guys are also able to quit your jobs and come on board and work full time as well.
Anyone else?
Yes. So, understanding that you have taken the leap of faith, hopefully that will be me in a future. Of course, working for the man day in and day out at the moment, but we created, it's a family endeavor. We created Gatotech as a company to provide decentralized ledger services. At the moment, we were only doing validation in a couple of networks. Now, thanks to the initiative from Tom and the team, we are also taking on the infrastructure support program. And well, high hopes for it. Thank you.
Cheers. Anyone else want to say hello?
Hi there. I can go next if that's okay. So this is Coin Studio. I've been active in .sama for the last 2 years, mostly in running validators. I love this idea from the start, and recently I was approached by Tom, and he suggested me the role here, and I gladly accepted it. So I'm happy to be here.
Welcome.
So hello everyone. I'll just take. Sorry, sorry, Tugy. I'm Anel. My handle is Anel NTD, and these are my initials. And I've been in the Polkadot ecosystem for quite a while, and I've done a few things. I was working with Talisman, and I'm now working in operations for a project that is funded by the Polkadot Treasury called .alert. And yeah, so when I saw this proposal, I think I'm currently the only comment. I was the only comment at the start for quite a while, but yes, it's just a very compelling vision. So I just thought that it was a really, really good one. And for some reason, I got a message from Paulo Zago, and asking me if I wanted to join as a curator. So yes, I just said yes, and I'm here now. And I've been following what's happening, and it's really interesting because I always tend to look at the software side of things, and although I know a bit about the hardware, I haven't really looked into what is a validator, what are the RPC services that you can provide around the ecosystem, and it's really good to be part of this because I'm already learning a lot, and yeah, I look forward to contributing as much as I can to the discussions and to whatever you will need me to do. So yes, that's it.
So I'll continue. My name is Tugy. My background is IT security. I've been running validators since day zero for Polkadot, and in 2021 I started my own company, went to my own journey. Yeah, that's M4.
I can be next then. Yes, hi guys. So I'm Pablo. I have been developing on Kusama and Polkadot for the last 2 years, building a few tools. Yeah, and when Tom just launched this idea about decentralizing the RPC and infrastructure, it got me really on my mind and on my head, and I think it was really a nice idea that I would like to be part of. Yeah, sometimes I just have something a lot in terms of managing all the tools and all the RPC services that we have, the validators. So I'm not quite sure yet if I'm able to go through all the program, but definitely to pick up on here, and because I really like to code as well, so I'm probably a little bit biased in terms of supporting the RPC infrastructure, or just be dedicated more to my tools and to my software applications. But it's really a nice program, and I'm glad to be part of here.
Oh, so okay, you go next. Yeah, so hi everyone. I'm Benjamin, or Ben, or BLD, as you wish to call me. Anything is good. So I'm working as full-time DevOps for Astar Networks. Astar Network, sorry, actually. I'm French, so I have a terrible accent. Yeah, Simon, don't laugh, even if I don't see you. And yeah, actually I got called, I don't even remember exactly how I caught it from Derek, who was starting the IBP program, and it was in the middle of for our internal project at Astar Network, where we were, setting a distributed RPC structure too. So we are now running on, fully distributed infrastructure with our home load balancers and things like that. Before that, we did like what 95 of crypto company do. We had AWS, we had all these kind of things, and it was amazing. It was really an amazing project, and so yeah, we had a chance to talk with Derek about this. He was starting to put everything together. No, I mean with Derek and Tom. Sorry guys, because I don't see you, Tom. That's why. And so yeah, in general, I really think the program is an amazing idea. Assemble many RPC providers around, a unified infrastructure with some common requirements, but also diverse configurations that everyone can have. And I think that's the future actually of RPC providing. So I'm really happy to be part of it as a curator. Yeah.
Okay, Let me go next. I'm Simon. I run by the handle of SIG, which is just an abbreviation of my full name. And my day job is working for staking facilities, where I do .sama strategy lead and infra for the Polkadot and Kusama nodes. And I also run Curator, which is my own fully .sama dedicated infra operations. I'm running validators and collators and RPC services for the relay chains and the parachains. And yeah, I truly believe in the paradigm of if it's not your service, it's not your infra and not your validators. And yeah, co-location and owned hardware is definitely a key element for the future of our decentralized networks. So that's why I really liked the idea and the proposal, and was happy that Tom invited me to it. I'm also serving as a counselor for various networks, and as a treasury council member for Moonriver and Moonbeam. That's it from my side for the intro. Thank you.
Hi everyone, should I go next?
Please do.
This is Kutsal from Istanbul. Kukabi is my handle. And I've been writing code pretty much for the last 20 years and being part of the crypto industry since 2019 and part of .Summit since early 2021. I've been running validators, developing validator tools and some other software, one for visualization and one for more audiovisual kind of stuff. Nowadays I'm working on my software and doing some contract work for some blockchain companies and managing my infra in a data center in Istanbul. So I've been running my own service since day one. And when Tom told me about the idea, I was kind of ready already. So I just deployed one extra server and became a part of this great project. And happy to meet you all, guys. I've been, of course, seeing you in the rooms, chat rooms, and around. I pretty much know you all from there, and I'm happy working with you on this project with you guys. Thanks a lot.
Derek, you're muted again. I think you're talking.
Thank you, Tom. Thanks, guys. It's really good to meet you all, sort of in face-to-face, as it were. I think we've got a great bunch here. We have a lot of skills that overlap, but we also have, people that are covering some edge cases. So that gives us a really good collective brain for thinking about stuff and making decisions and hopefully forging the good way forward. So the agenda that I suggested, and we don't have to follow it, I'm happy to hear suggestions, is to discuss what the 3 different roles are in the program, and then if we have time to look at progress that we've done to date. I think you guys are pretty much aware of where we are, and it was really just an opportunity to showcase the amazing stuff that Tom and a couple of other guys have done as well. And then we need to look at next steps, and then I've left some time for questions afterwards. I know I only booked half an hour, and I suspect that this is not going to be nearly enough to have any in-depth conversation. And that's why I just called it a kickoff, because we get to know each other, we get to know how to conduct ourselves as an organization. How do we make decisions? There are a couple of other things in my questions section that I've made provision for around, should we be a DAO, etc. But that's jumping too far ahead. So looking at the 3 roles that we've got administrative curator, janitorial advisor, and member. And these are just coming from the document that Tom is maintaining. I hope you're all familiar with this document now. It's basically driving all the things that we are trying to do. And I think I've got the council members wrong here. Maybe I've got them right, but this is what I have gleaned from the chat recently. If that list is not correct.
That is correct.
Is it correct? Thank you. And I don't know if you want to say something on the different roles, Tom, but I've picked up from the various comments that were made in the chat earlier today was that, what is the janitorial advisor? What do they do? What is the administrative curator? What do they do? I think it's fairly clear from everybody on the call what members are supposed to do, because you're supposed to provide the services and get a reward for providing the services. What I'm just trying to emphasize here is that we are really honored and privileged to have administrative curators. They don't get paid. That would be a conflict of interest, or if they did get paid or rewarded, it wouldn't be. It's supposed to be for their independence, because that's what the program is supposed to be: independent, decentralized. No one particular person or no group of people should be able to take over the decision-making process. So as members, and I guess as janitors, maybe we want to change that word. janitorial advisors, we should do the heavy lifting. We should do the research. We should write the white papers. We should do the, analysis, etc., and put that information in front of the decision makers, in front of the administrative curators. Essentially, what we would be doing is we'd be going to this group of 5 people, or 3 out of 5 when we get down to it, to say we want to do something. It's going to cost a bit of money, or we've done something. Here's my statement of expenses, etc., like that. And it shouldn't be cumbersome, because otherwise we will lose our administrative curators. I just wanted to start by saying that's what I think we should be doing, and open it to the floor for some further comment.
So the way that I saw it originally is that we would need janitorial advisors, because the original administrative curator set contained, it was like Raul, Will, Otar, and I already knew at that point in time that at least all 3 of those individuals would be very busy, and we would have to do a lot of the heavy lifting to collate the information and present the information to them. That does leave some ability to, kind of manipulate the information, but, in a function of our job role as a potential vulnerability in the process. But I didn't really, for such a small group, I didn't really see that as being an issue. Some of the things that I saw a janitorial advisor role doing would be managing. So Derek is taking the lead on the programming side of things, and he will be managing member tasks, if you will. I'm not sure exactly what the best word for that would be, but his job function would be to make sure that we don't have duplicative work, and that everybody is kind of focused on their own little thing to help build out the software side of the program that we'll need. Then my role, what I saw would be essentially as a support help desk for the other members. That I realized that a lot of the other members are not going to have the same level of infrastructure experience as I do, and I can assist them where necessary in order to help them with whatever software, hardware problems they may have, or configuration problems, etc. Additionally, I was seeing that either myself or Derek, either one of us could do this function, but to collate the billing and payments information so we can present that to the administrative curators in a way that it would be easy for you to digest, so that it didn't consume all of your time, in order to understand who needs to get paid what, why they need to get paid that, what they did, etc.
Okay.
Yeah, great. Maybe a question about janitorial advice also then, on the member set, like you will be freeze it, or is there still some questions about it?
I mean, the only vulnerability I see to the process is that, like I said, that we could manipulate the information. And I don't see the janitorial advisor as a permanent position. I see it more as being a necessary temporary evil that will eventually go away once we get a more formal DAO solution in place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Yeah, especially in the beginning, there is kind of a lot of work to do. So definitely makes sense. Yeah.
So there's a lot of work that Tom and certainly the other 3 founder members or first members are doing around structure of, firewalls, load balancers, how many RPCs, the GeoDNS that Tom's been doing, and there's a couple of other things that are, it's just a time suck really. And I think those sorts of things either need to be covered by a flat fee, which is agreed. I think the figure was it $1,800?
Yeah, it wasn't. My estimation was it would probably take us, like 20 hours a month, 40 hours a month, something like that, in order for us to kind of manage those separate areas that need to be managed.
Yeah, and I think the discussion would be going around things like, hey guys, there's a task that needs to be done. We think it's 25 hours worth of work, etc. Collectively, do we think that falls inside janitorial duties? then you just carry on and get it done, or you think it falls outside of the janitorial duties and you put forward some sort of mini proposal to say, I'm going to put a timesheet in, or I'm going to put a claim in at the end of the month for those hours. I think the proposal that you've got, Tom, is roughly around $50 an hour.
Yes.
Depending
of course,
on
that was before natural gas was like, $10 whatever, and eggs were $1 each. So that might need to be updated.
I think, well, the challenge is always, and I heard you bring up this topic when you're on the attempted governance a couple of days ago, is, what's the time worth, depending on the value that you are providing to the community, or actually depending on the geolocation where you are in the world, because $50 means different things to different people. So I think there's some people are going to think it's too low. Some people are going to jump at it to say, hey, that's a great fee. But that's where we're starting. And if we think we want to change that now, let's have proposals. Otherwise, we can run it for a month or 2 or 3 and see how it goes. I don't anticipate anyone's going to get stinking rich out of this. And in fact, if you look at how much time we've put in over the past, certainly since the beginning of November, there are people who've it's almost been a full-time job for them. So, all right. Oof, didn't mean to click that. Do we?
Quinn Studio has a question, I think.
Yes, sorry, please go.
Hi, Derek. Well, just some feedback. Generally, I'm fine with your proposal, because I think some extra effort is needed in this phase to bootstrap everything. So as long as that work is clearly described and logged, I don't see any problem with it. So just my opinion at the moment. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, maybe I can precise, because I made a remark about it, that it's definitely a work needed and that needs to be rewarded. And the rate is fine to me. There's no problem. But I was thinking probably in the beginning you would need more time to dedicate to this. So I mean, it has to fit what you really do for it. If you do more, you have to get rewarded more. And then when it will decrease, to get less about it. My thought was just about that.
So you were suggesting just going with the hourly rate and logging all of our hours then?
Yeah, something gross, of course. It doesn't have to be a report of work by the minute or anything like that, but just have a gross estimate of what it took to you, and to have a fair rewarding of it.
I mean, as long as us, then we run into issues, because if when we start supporting each other, we're going to have a lot of people claiming support hours, which I'm not against, but it feels like some limits there might need to be in place. That's why I stuck it as a flat rate, because it would be a little bit more work in the beginning, be less work towards the end, and that should hopefully average out there somewhere. And it kind of avoided the issues of who's claiming what for problem solving and helping in the community.
It sounds awfully.
I was just on the topic of payment for the janitorial advisors. Since we are admin curators and we're sort of overlooking everything, how about you just set that 1,800 as a flat, base payment, as you said, and then if you feel that if you think that you've done a lot of more work in some given period, then you just submit it to the curators to have like an extra payment. Is that something that is possible, or is it because you've stated 1,800 on the proposal, you can't unlock any more fees to just pay you? Because that would be an option, because I mean, the program is funded and it's pretty flexible.
I want to answer, but I want somebody else to have a go, because I don't want it just to be a low number of people talking.
Does anybody else have opinions?
So Anil, I like that idea, because we're just starting off. We don't know how much time it's going to take, and we want it to be light touch. We don't want to be filling in timesheets and go for 3-step approvals and stuff like that. It's just going to grind us into that admin, just kills all the creativity. But it should be fair. We've got records of time spent November, December, and up until January. I've spent a lot of time developing the monitor, and I think for those targeted areas, we should put in, time spent. But I think we're probably going forward, say from the end of January, I would support your suggestion of us having a fixed janitorial fee, and then we tune it. We tune it up or we tune it down, and hopefully we don't have to meet as a council, as a big council like this, more than once a month, because it should be relatively light touch. But on the other hand, we have to be open and transparent, and we have to record our decisions so that if anybody says, hey, we're wasting money, we can turn around and say, no, these are the initiatives, these are the results, etc. So one of the things that the janitorial advisors will have to do is come up with either a monthly or a quarterly report and send that back to the governance structures to say, hey guys, look at the great results. Look what we've achieved over the last X number of weeks, days, months, whatever. So I'm conscious of time, and this is this is supposed to be a light kickoff. We are asking and talking about the right things, by the way, and it's better to be talking about those sorts of things in a call like this rather than sitting on it and going, oh, nobody ever wants to do this, or I think it's too much or too low. So I propose we go on a little bit to the next slide. I'm also conscious of the fact that we're already 10 minutes over time. So unfortunately, if you have to drop, it doesn't matter. We've got a recording, so you should be able to hear the rest of the conversation. This page really is just a shout out to Tom, and I've mentioned Tugy here, but there's a couple of other people who really put a lot of effort in to get to the main proposal approved. So this is just well done, Tom. And obviously with lots of people's support, but mostly been doing the heavy lifting. And where we are now is, I think we're looking at the technical tools, processes of how to do the multi-sig and how to actually make a payment. I don't know if you want to give us just a 30-second or a 45-second update on that, Tom.
Sure. So currently where we are, the Pure Proxy has been created, and I've gone ahead and derived the multi-sig address from the signatories. I've assigned that multi-sig address to the Pure Proxy. At some point, the administrative curators will need to get together and test that all out, make sure all of that is functioning. I did leave myself on the Pure Proxy for this period of time until you guys figure that out, make sure that works. So once your first action may be to remove me from that Pure Proxy would be a good test. So once that happens, we know the Pure Proxy works. The vote to assign the to propose the curators for the bounty is ongoing now, and that resolves in, I believe, 12 days from now, and barring any unforeseen events, at that point, it should be possible to begin the back pay and start looking forward. Yeah, I think that's the last thing we're waiting for.
Thanks, Tom. Any questions specifically around for the curators as to how this will be used, or is that for another discussion?
I believe Ben is aware of that process, and it's not overly complex. And I believe Coin Studio is also involved in the other infrastructure bounty, so he should have some knowledge of that as well. It's like I said, it's a pretty simple process, and I don't see that there's going to be any issues there.
No.
Yes, that's correct. So basically, we need 3 approval for our signature to pass. So I guess we will get there in time when all 5 of us are on page and we're gonna test it.
Fantastic. I don't think I need to spend any time on this. The websites are up, or the tools are up. The monitor is working and monitoring all the current nodes in an interval of 5 minutes. And if you go to these URLs, you'll be able to see what's going on. I will spend a little bit of time making either a document or a short video to explain how the monitor was set up and how it works in a peer-to-peer environment rather than working in web services. It uses Gossip protocol behind the scenes, which is the same protocol, of course, that our blockchain uses. But I would like some comments on how we're going to use our domains. For example, I know we've got Dotus Network, and recently IBP.network was registered. Does anybody have any comments on that?
Just one question, Milos, go ahead, I'll go after you.
Okay, no. In regards to IBP.network, we just today applied for the endpoints to be registered in Polkadot.js. Jaco is requesting that we consider only applying for West End as a matter of a wee trial, and then expand to Polkadot and Kusama. We will continue the conversation with him. However, for this domain, IBP.network, as it is a really nice domain for the whole program, I was thinking, Derek, to copy. I understand that your page for the project is in GitHub. So I was thinking also to publish the same content, but in this, yes, that one, in this content, but in the new domain as well.
Yeah, do it. It's a good idea.
Okay, excellent. So we will have a single source of truth in the GitHub, and the page or the content will be published in several outlets.
You can also run a monitor on that URL. So the code for the monitor is also on GitHub, and you can run a monitor like this. And I can certainly help set that up if you want. Otherwise, I mean, each of the nodes or each of the members should be running all of this on a subdomain anyway. Thank you, Milos. Gustav?
I understand we're supposed to run GeoDNS pools, right? Just like Milos added.
Well, we need to have at least two, because if I'm running the only one, then that's a single point of failure. If anything happens to me or my site or the domain gets pulled for any reason, so we definitely need to have more than one domain. Milos, if you would like to, will you send me the pull request link for your pull request, and then I will talk with Jacko and I'll see if I can get some sort of resolution there to get that on Polkadot and Kusama as well.
Will do.
Okay, then Tom, I think I can skip the GeoDNS for now, right? And if two domains is enough.
Well, you said that you would like to run the Anycast, correct? You would like to purchase IP addresses. So we do not have any Anycast pools yet, and I would like to get some Anycast pools up because it's just going to be far more optimal than a GeoDNS solution. So if you would like to go ahead and get that up, I'm more than happy to work with you to start deploying that. That's going to be a little bit more of a in-depth process because of all of the requirements that are involved, but not something that's insurmountable. So if you want to go ahead and start that process, let's do it.
Okay, I'll take that off. I'll let you guys know. Thanks.
About the second Anycast, that one's also work in progress. Just as
okay,
info.
Sounds good.
And a quick input about in general monitoring. Maybe if we could have like a status page where people could check historical incidents, where we can report, or like if someone wants to see, when did we have what incident and where, so that we like track them historically somewhere on the web page.
So that would be a question for Derek, and that was one of the points that I had for the monitor as well, that have like just a list of events, so that we could see every single outage or problem that any one particular site or the network itself would have.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. Originally, we thought we didn't want to keep too much history. So if you run the monitor tool, there's a configuration that says how long pruning is what it's called, funnily enough. And it depends on how many days you want to keep the information. So on this website, which is mine, I'm keeping 30 days. On Tom's, sorry, on this website, I'm keeping something like 5 or 4 days. And on Tom's, we're keeping 30 days. So yeah, that's a good idea. I've made notes that we want an overall status page and we want some historical incidents so that we can see if what the incidents were, if we have to go back and check our SLA. And one of the things that we want to do is perhaps we want to put some alerting, and then we can decide how everybody wants to get alerts. If you want to get alerted into the general Matrix chat room, or if you want to be alerted via another mechanism, let's talk. It's just an API call. We'll just call the API and tell the monitor, oh sorry, the node owner that the node's down or the node's slow or whatever.
Generally, a dedicated channel is more efficient, because if you do it while talking, you're gonna miss some alerts or some talks.
Yeah, and I don't think this monitoring is the one that should wake you up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, definitely.
You have your own. You should have your own monitoring, running your own infrastructure to wake you up at 4 o'clock in the morning if something's down. Okay, so we're looking at next steps now, and it's basically finalizing the multi-sig and test, and then Tom and I earlier this morning were working on or testing the form for onboarding members, and if I got the members here correctly. If I haven't, please let me know if you're going to go through with that. It doesn't really matter. I'll just send everybody the form. You can fill the form in if you want to apply for the membership. Just to point out something you said on the attempts at governance, Tom, was that the membership was open to everyone, but that there would be a vetting process. I'm aware of the fact that when we applied for the grant, we said that we would go for 10 members. So let's just see how we manage how many members we have. At the moment, we don't have more than 10 applications, so it's not an issue.
So we do have people who are interested. I've received several messages, people in Asia. There was another one, in Dweller, who was not on the call, had signaled their intent to bring their Tunisia location into the program, but they are also, they independently input that into the Poke.js wallet. So it's unclear to me if they intend to build a treasury for that. And that was kind of one of the things that we had discussed with Raul, is that there is a bit of a conflict of interest there if a entity is charging the treasury independently as well as getting paid through the program. So those should be separated. So I don't know if they intend to still join the program or not, but yeah, there are a few other people that are interested. I know, who was that? Daniel from True Staking, and Simon, you may remember him or know him from Moonbeam ecosystem. He's interested to come on board, as well as a few others. So we definitely will have 10. Ideally, I would still like to allow for the filling of the regions, so that we have redundancy within the regions out to at least what the proposal called for. I believe that we have an over provisioning in Europe I think we have an extra 1 location or 2 locations there. But I'm not too worried about that. With the increase in price of KSM recently, we have more than enough funds to cover a couple extra members.
There's a hand from Coin Studio.
Hi. I just want to point out that some of the infrastructure is funded through the Bounty 13. So definitely, I think some extra consideration needs to be taken if those people or teams try to apply for this project as well, because I don't think it's feasible for them to be funded 2 times for same work. So I think that's just one point of discussion we need to have at some point later on.
I think that's an agreement. Yeah, Ben?
Yeah, thanks. So I think, yeah, we all agree with you, like you can't accept a member to be funded on both sides by the treasury. Infra is one thing, so it has one funding. Yeah, just want to review together the like next steps of the member selections, because we have a list of members here, which is great because the program needed an inception. So I think we can consider those 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 members as already part of the program, which means, as we discussed, Tom, the aim for the first year was to have up to 12 members, right?
So the aim for the program for the first year was to have 10 members.
Oh, 10,
but
right? Mm-hmm.
We were only supposed to have 3 in Europe, and I believe we're currently sitting at 4 in Europe, or is it 5? We either have 4 or 5 members in Europe, so we do have 1 or 2 extra members. But with the state of the bounty, I don't think that that's going to be an issue. And there was also, I did over provision some funds on the software development side, so we do have a little bit of wiggle room there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Well, in this case, what I would just like to maybe clarify, very simple step on next applicants. Could you guys maybe just make a simple form, maybe just a Google form or type form, anything, for people to apply, so that there can be a selection that is in consensus with the curators?
Yes, we already have that created, so that's ready to go.
Okay, great.
Here's
So
one
then,
Tom prepared earlier. So there is a form. We've been testing it.
Okay,
and
great.
I think all of the members that we are already seen on this slide should go and fill in the form as well, because that form allows you to put in, for example, a proof of your business registration. We did say that there would be a resume of the participant and second in command and your data center contract. This is what was going to be used to prove that you have got an actual data center and that it's running with renewable power, etc., etc. And there's a couple of technical things here that have to be filled out, like you put in your payment address and then you have to sign it. And I've put a link into here, this, which I will distribute after, which is, how do you actually sign stuff if you haven't done it before? I think we're all relatively technical, but if, like me, you haven't, I'll get to you in a sec, Coinstudio. If you haven't actually done these tasks, maybe you just need a bit of a reminder. Coinstudio.
Hi, well, I think the form is good, but my question is regarding something else, because I just recently jumped on this, so I'm still trying to catch up with the things. So there are some things that are unclear, so I will try to use this opportunity to ask for it. So is the end goal of this stage to run 10 different members all the way to the member milestone 8 professional point?
Yes.
I think that's a roadmap, though, Tom, because not everybody will be able to jump in at P8.
Correct. So it's going to be a process where people are going to proceed at their own rate based upon the hardware availability and their willingness to spend the time to deploy the things that are necessary. For the members that are here, I believe that very little work is going to be required for everybody to get up to that point. I think everybody just basically needs to add another server. If that is incorrect, let me know. But one more server and then they're good to go out to 8.
Yeah, my point is just like I'm trying to get into this, and there is some things that are maybe not described in the best words. So maybe some clarity would be nice, so the wider community can understand the end goal of this milestone 1 or milestone 2 of the proposal.
Okay, so one of the things I'll say about that is you may be thinking about it in terms of the validator points and the additional Polkadot validator down there at the bottom in the member milestone 8. Those validator points and any additional rewards in the 1000 validators program would be at the willingness of Will. Without Will, we have no control over that program. So with Will in control of that program, we need his support and willingness to kind of implement those validator points rewards. So that's a discussion that I'm going to be having with him as time goes on and trying to get a resolution there for that. Was there another specific point that you had, or did I hit the nail there?
Well, I I'm just like I said, I didn't spend too much time on this. I had a quicker read, so when I read the milestones, so basically we are talking about the milestone 1 and the milestone 2, and I couldn't find anywhere that it clearly says that the goal is to have all 10 members or 5 out of 10 members going to all of these task steps or member milestones, as it's called here. So I'm not sure if you got my point.
Yes, it's definitely. I mean, it would be in the benefit of the member to proceed, but whether or not the member does or does not proceed is completely up to them.
If I can jump in and perhaps show our thinking, Tom and my thinking of as to how that would work, is we're looking at a data structure, and the data structure would be flexible so that you could have members and services, and members could declare, and we would then test to see that it's true, but members could declare that, say, I have run this service for this month, and then there would be an award for running that service for that month. Obviously, we want the services to be long-standing, but what we've done is just working on a spreadsheet for the moment. We've got the members, and then we've got the services, and we're coming up with sort of what the monthly award would be for running, a statement boot node, for example, maybe $250. This is an example, not necessarily exactly how it will work. And then what we do is we've got the, let's call it a billing cycle or a billing run or whatever you want to call it. And we'll say, for example, for January, State Plus ran a Kusama boot node. We ran one of them, and that actually doesn't have any billing. Fine, but State Plus ran West End RPC node, none of those, but actually he ran a full stack, and a full stack has a price, and he ran one full stack for the whole month, and that has a price. And then that basically works out what the billing should be, or the reward structure should be per month. That's the way that we're thinking of going. It might be that it flexes up and down if somebody's moving infrastructure, or if they have an outage, then this quantity will be used to flex down to say, well, I only ran it for 3 out of 4 weeks, for example. I've also allowed some flexibility for an external factor, and that factor could be, I don't know, you're running a really cheap infrastructure location in the world, you might factor this down, or you're running in a really expensive infrastructure location in the world, and you might want to say, well, let's bump this up by 10% to compensate for the real costs. Now, we haven't even talked about that yet, but the model will have that flexibility if we want to go in that direction. Does that go a long way towards explaining how we were thinking of running it? Because what I was hearing earlier was that people are saying, oh, we have to declare the goals of this period, and I'm not sure everybody will get to P8 at the same time. In fact, I'm quite sure people won't get to P8 at the same time, and some of them might miss P6 and P7 because it's not needed. So what are your thoughts on that? Does everybody have to progress linearly from P2 to P8? Or do we think, not quite pick and mix, but do we think that there's agreed services that each member will run, and they're not necessarily in each of the P levels?
It should be linear up to P6. And then at P7, there is a possibility if we have a large enough set of members that there won't be any GeoDNS services that need hosting or Anycast services that need hosting, or additional snapshot services, which basically just leaves, man hours building out tools, but there's no guarantee that we actually have any tools at that point that we need built out. So I see P7 is kind of like an optional milestone. And then P8 is kind of like, that is something that's it's not really something that we can declare in this program, because that is sort of a completely separate proposal and a completely separate discussion.
Okay, so if you're progressing past P2, for example, I need to put something in there. I don't think there are actually services for P2, but if you're progressing into, we're saying that the expectation is that you don't run P4 services until you're running P3 services.
That is correct, yes.
Okay, cool.
So it should be linear out to P6, and then after P6, that's where things get a little fuzzy. P7 and P8 are probably likely to need adjustment in the future.
Yeah. And what are your general thoughts, everyone, on having this sort of product list approach where you run? I'll get to you in a second, Anel. Where you get you guys in a second. Where you run a series of products multiplied by how many you run, or do you just want lump sums? Let's start with Anel, whose hand up was first.
Yes, I thought that this is something that the website can be used to communicate on, especially because you're looking to build like a community of members where one member who's more advanced can sort of help the others. So I think if you just whatever we're doing, so I'm just talking in like structural thing. Whatever we're doing, we just need to make sure that those who want to apply know what's happening. It doesn't have to be in the proposal document, because a lot of people don't even know what's happening yet, and we're still figuring it out. But once everything has been figured out and we put it on the website, and it's clear for people to understand that there's a pathway and there are certain things that you need to be doing, etc. This can be explained visually on the website. But also, I think it's important to just make sure that whoever reaches P5 first, it needs to be visible to those who are not necessarily involved in the program, or those who are involved in the program but don't really know where to source information from, to just access that information to make sure that they can follow through. If I'm P3 and I need to go to P4, well, who is the person that I could contact to have a look at beyond the janitorial advisors? And yes, and also that could also help justify for us who are the best candidates for being a janitorial advisor. They need to be quite advanced in the program, etc. So it's just communication wise, I would like that information to be out of the spreadsheet and just to be available almost publicly. And whatever model you decide is just it's fine, so long as the information is there.
I can answer that. So I currently have an employee who's working on revamping the website right now. He's going to be putting all that information together and all that information out there. So we'll have, a complete list of schedules and payments and amounts based upon region and things of that nature.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Anel. Coin Studio.
Hi, thanks for the answers. They're really good. I just have 2 more questions, please. So the first question is this phase 6 that you say is the last linear phase. Do you guys have any rough estimate how long it's going to take for a member that's going to do all the tasks required and deliver on time? How long is going to take for them to reach the phase 6? And my other question is, do you have any goal? For example, can you say, okay, we can call it a day when at least 3 out of 10 members reach milestone 6? Then this is the time for us to proceed to the milestone 3. Thank you.
Okay. So to answer your first question, it depends on where we're starting. Starting the process in the 1000 validators program, saying somebody who's new, just coming into the community, it would take them about, if I remember correctly, 3 to 4 months to progress the necessary rank on Kusama to get a Polkadot validator. Once they have their Polkadot validator, it'll take them, if I remember correctly, 6 months to proceed that they would even be able to apply for the professional branch of the IBP program. So once they apply to the IBP program, the first milestone is should take, I'm sorry, for milestone 3 will be the first milestone where there's a wait period, and that in that milestone 3 it'll be obtain a rank of 90, which should roughly that's hobbyist, sorry. But it's still the same. So +1 rank and then obtain, so it'll take 180 days to go from milestone 3 to milestone 4. Once you're at milestone 4, you'll proceed to this very quickly. It's just a matter of spawning boot nodes and getting them included in the node. Then the next wait time would be at milestone 5, and that would be another 180 days. So to go from milestone 1 to milestone 6 should take roughly 1 year once you're approved to the program.
So are we saying that it's not necessarily you just spin up the services and you're good to go? You've got to serve your time?
Yes. So for milestone 3, there is a ranking there for providing those RPC services, and the math on the rankings, if you don't have any negative SLA consequences, then to go from milestone 3 to milestone 4 would take 180 days to reach a rank of 180.
Right. So I think that's something that I need to build into the monitor.
And then the same thing applies again going from milestone 5 to milestone 6 as well. Benjamin, do you have any follow-up questions to that, Twin Studio, or did that cover it?
Thanks for explanation. I think the rough estimation of 1 year it's a good information to have an overview of the project. And my second question is like, what is the goal? At what point you gonna say, okay, this is the end of the milestone 2 and we are ready for milestone 3? Is it something like, okay, we're gonna have like 3 members at phase 6 or milestone 6, or do you have some other things in mind, or?
I think it's a matter of time. We need enough time to prove that we can do it, to prove that it will be reliable, and there's nothing that we can do there but wait. I can't remember who it was on my pull request, but they were hesitant to put us in the Poke.js wallet for what we're doing. So I think it's going to take us a little time to prove to Parity and Web3 Foundation that this is viable and that it's okay to put these things, to include our services in Poke.js, because we, manage ourselves well. I would guess maybe we move to milestone 3, program milestone 3, in a year. I would probably start working on the proposal for that in 9 months from now, and putting together all of the performance data and information, and then look to have that funded by the end of 12 months, which would put us at February 2024.
Okay, thank you for the answers. I think I was just curious about it, so thank you for your time to explain it.
No problem. Benjamin?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, I think this spreadsheet is great, structure, especially as a start, to get to know who is doing what, because that's going to be probably one of the biggest challenge if some can't reach everything. And as Anael said, I pretty much agree. At some point, it should be like easy for someone who is not part of the program to know how to apply and how to reach. And just a question or maybe a concern or question about, yeah, as you said, some of the members will probably not reach milestone 6 because there are a lot of nodes, but it may, it may introduce a need to fill the gaps. I'm thinking about milestone 3 especially, which is RPC providing. I think at some point maybe we should allow some flexibility for some operators who have good reputation or something like that. That will be, of course, with the selection process, to enter a different milestone without, passing to a 1 full year of the program. What do you think about that?
If I can just clarify some things, thanks, Benjamin. If I can just clarify something, there are 2 milestones that we need to differentiate. First of all is the member milestone, and then the other one is the program milestone. What I think Coin Studio was talking about is the program as a whole. At the moment, the infrastructure program as a whole proposal is for program milestone 2, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Coin Studio, I think what you've been asking about is when can the program declare itself successful, and that's quite a good distinction. And then, Benjamin, I think what you're talking about is a member milestone, to say,
Yes.
well, if a member is struggling to get through milestone 3, go ahead and ask your question, please.
Yeah. That was about program milestone. Is that it? Well, the one where the first milestone is to set boot nodes, and milestone 3 is to set RPC nodes.
So if we say, and I guess it's a question to the whole crowd, if we say we have 6 members on member milestone 6, is that good enough to declare the program successful, or do we need 10 members on member milestone 5? That's a question to say, when, do we all have, because we'll have people progressing through the ranks, and people will grow from, professional, from a P2 to a P3 and eventually to a P4. But some people will be slower than others. And if we get to the end of the year and 2 people have managed it to P6 and 4 people are on P5 and 1 person is on, P2 still, that's just the way it's going to be. And we have to aspire to get better. Mm-hmm. Any comments? Yes, Tugy.
Yeah, maybe one good way to measure success would be, can we provide all services in a decentralized way? Do we have like the GeoDNS covered with at least 2 people? Can we provide RPCs instead of checking like, did enough people reach certain milestones?
Yeah, and I think the GeoDNS goes a long way to that, because even if, and maybe GeoDNS doesn't do this, but even, for example, if one of the EU locations is down for an hour, will the other 3 EU locations take the strain? And that's a measure of success as well, because it means that the decentralization has worked and the backup, or the high availability has worked.
Yeah. On my side, I think that AI, if you want to call the program a success, like, focus on the main objectives. The main objective is to provide service to the community, and I think in this sense, the milestone 3 is like the most important in this sense. So I think we should, to me, it's just personal opinion, but to me, factor of success is to reach milestone 3 for members across different regions, so that we have a coverage of different regions, by different members.
I mean, everybody should get to member milestone 3 pretty quickly. I mean, member milestone 1 is just setting up the boot nodes and having them included. And then milestone 2 is to go through the interview process with the administrative curators, which is probably something we should touch on. And then member milestone 3 is where RPC services start being provided in the first place. So I think everybody minimum should be milestone 3. If anybody is not milestone 3, there's a problem there.
Yeah, I kind of agree too. Yeah. But I think that's enough for success. If you say, I don't know, something like 8 out of 10, sorry, have reached at least milestone 3 with good geo distribution, to me it's a win.
Okay.
I like that. It's achievable, and it actually does what it says on the tin. It provides the service to the community. Okay.
If I can just add, I also agree with Benjamin's comments. So this is maybe something that we need to have in mind at some point, make just a clear goals and say when we're gonna call it a day. So I think the milestone or member milestone 3 is a reasonable point. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So we've gone through that section, and now we're on to some sort of topics that really give us some vision, some broad direction, and that would be simple stuff. We've got 2 domains. We've got Dotus.network and we've got IBP.network. What we are actually potentially doing is collecting people's data. We need to be aware of that. Some of the data might be sensitive. So we need to start off, where do we store our data? And one suggestion was the organization or the program could have its own Google domain, and we could store the data there. Like, people are submitting documents for their proof of company and all that sort of. And another thing is recordings like this. Is everybody on the call happy for this to be a public recording on YouTube, for example? Or would you prefer to not be part of those public recordings? Those sorts of decisions we need to take. I think because we are funded by the Treasury, I think it's only fair that these discussions are open and in the public, but I open that for discussion.
I do agree.
Yeah. Okay. And then not for today, because we're completely over the allocated time. There's discussions as to should we form a DAO, pros and cons. There's also discussions as to our tool set. Should or could our tool set actually be on chain? It'll be kind of cool, but it might be overkill. We can discuss that. And then obviously we need a logo competition because my attempts at artwork are on the screen and they're not that good. So
they're nice.
They're nice.
So we need a logo competition. Thanks, Anel. That's very cool. And then we need the T-shirt. I saw Tom, you were wearing the polka dot T-shirt, flying the flag on the AIG the other day. It was pretty cool. Yeah. Right. And any other? We're back to AOB, or we're at the end now. If anybody's got any topics that you want to bring up, either bring it up now or suggestions for sessions that we should have. Milos.
Yes, if I can be allowed to share my screen just for a wee moment.
By all means, as long as it's not adult rated.
No, it will not be adult rated. So I will just share with you the current geographic distribution of our services. This is just a rough calculation of what it looks like our nodes serving by proximity. You can see that where the nodes are, we have a darker green color. And for example, Australia, they are just too far away from the closer node, which is Turkey. So at the moment, this is our simulated service of quality diagram. So as you can see, we will need reinforcement in Asia, in Oceania, and South Africa. And that I think is the goal of the whole team, to bring some more applicants from those regions, aren't they?
This is a cool graphic. Can we get this on the website?
Yeah, that's great.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. And it will be updated as soon as there is any updates. So you can see now the visual goal for the next month. I think will be the onboarding of those applicants. And talking about onboarding, the participation, a part of the technically challenging, it's also financially demanding as well. And if there is a person, maybe in Oceania, that wants to jump in, I think maybe Tom and the curators can think about helping them a little bit more than maybe helping us that we already have our hardware and contracts in place. That's just my topic.
Thank you for sharing. That's awesome. Anyone else for any other business?
No, thank you everybody for being here and staying what, an hour over schedule.
So that's
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Yeah.
It was a great
Thank you
session.
very much.
Everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a lovely
Yes.
weekend. Bye.
Yeah. Have a
Yeah,
nice
thank
one.
you.
Cheers.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Cheers. Bye bye.